I'd like to call the Wednesday, February 8th, 2023 Smart Growth Committee meeting to order with myself, Lisa Dorsey, and Patrick McCoy. Are there any comments, suggestions, petitions by residents in attendance regarding any items not on the agenda? Seeing none, let's move to discussion item number 3, update from Building and Housing Department on various projects. Thank you for that.
We just got this, so we're I haven't even reviewed it yet, but we sent it off to our consultants and the other departments who will begin their review. We'll send it off to the planning commission, the county planning commission, and we'll have the subsequent borough planning commission meetings after we've had those reviews from all the consultants. So it's fresh. I haven't delved into it yet, but we will see. Lastly, one other project that we did receive is a land development submission for 732 and 734 South Matlack Street. There's 2 parcels there, currently shared by Twin Homes. The proposal is to demolish those 2 homes that are there, do a reverse subdivision of those 2 parcels, and build 4 townhomes on that land there. That is also currently under review by all of the consultants and myself. It's been sent over to the County Planning Commission, and we will discuss it at the Borough Planning Commission next month as well. So we have a lot of projects that are in the works, and everything will subsequently come to Borough Council, obviously, for ultimate approval. But some of the projects have been delayed in their submission or resubmission, especially Rubenstein's and Wyeth. We're also waiting on Rubenstein's to submit for their final land development. The holdup on Rubenstein's is we are waiting for the applicant's engineer and the borough's engineer to finish an analysis of the sewer line that is going down Franklin Street there. That sewer line currently bisects the culvert that runs under Franklin Street. The ultimate goal is to have that sewer line removed from the culvert. So there's been some surveying and engineering that they're trying to determine a way to accomplish that. So once that is done, they're going to resubmit for their final land development. Take any questions on any of the projects.
I have a question for you, Mr. Gore. I know we just received it this week, but any idea how many stories that 125 unit apartment building is?
Yeah, so their maximum height is 45 feet there, and it says 4 stories roughly. Then they're gonna meet the 45-foot height requirement.
Excuse me, Kevin, the property right across the street here, nothing on that yet?
We've had no significant discussions with the property owner about that. The only thing we do know is that they have monitoring wells in place now over there. So they're doing environmental monitoring of the site, but no significant discussions on future development or what they want to put there.
What about across the street and then with the Davis Oil property? Any updates regarding that property?
Sure, we'll start with across the street. I have had conversations with the property owners of the parcels across the street. They do, obviously their plan is to redevelop that site. They own all of those parcels up to the brown building, which is I think the tire place there. Well, they own the Knox building too, but there's that one building there. I can't recall the name of it. But nothing that we can share at a public meeting because they haven't submitted anything yet. But I'm hoping we can have some advanced discussions with them this year and hopefully have them get a plan together. I know they were fairly close to getting something submitted. Oh, and Davis, I'm sorry. Davis Oil, the demolition is complete. The site is secured. I was past there the other day. There was some fencing down. We'll have to talk to the property owner about securing the site, but as of right now, they have not submitted anything. We did have a discussion with them about future development, but nothing, we didn't really nail down on anything. They were asking us what we would like to see there. It's kind of difficult because half of it's non-conforming over there, but nothing is going to get done there until DEP has done their remediation of the contaminants in the soil, which is going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
The terms of the industrial discharge permit have been finally worked out and agreed to. So that's been issued by the borough. That's the permit that allows them to discharge the treated water into the sanitary sewer system. So that's a nice step forward. That means that they can go ahead and start installing the remediation facilities on the site. And so that's the next big thing that's going to happen there. But you may not notice it because it's going to be a couple above ground facilities that look a little bit like containers.
Yeah, I think they
And
look
most
like
of the stuff is
polymer
underground?
tanks. They call them scrubbers. So it pulls the contaminated groundwater out of the ground and then scrubs it cleaner, and then they discharge it into our sanitary system. It's more complex than I'm explaining it, but that's in a nutshell.
Are there any further questions for Mr. Gore about item A?
I had a question on Davis property. I was by there yesterday, and I can say that I'm not sure what secure means when you say the property's secure.
So as I mentioned, there is some fencing that blew over. I don't know if they took that down or it blew over with the wind that we had the other day. When I say it's secure, I mean that there's no inherent danger with the buildings that were still there, the unsafe structures. So, if somebody were to walk into the site, I mean, I guess there's some loose rubble on the site, but there's no danger of a building collapse or anything of that nature.
And that's why I asked, because there is no fencing around the property that's up. And there is a lot of big pieces of rubble around the property. So it looks unsightly, so it doesn't look cleaned up.
Okay, but I can talk to the property owner.
I have one more question, Mr. Gore. Probably about 6 months ago, sometime in 2022, Jeff Bytel and maybe the arborist, some other folks were talking about a streetscape here along the entrance into Westchester on Gay Street. And I know we were talking about the property across the street as well. Has there been any additional discussions around that?
So obviously, if you may recall, the tree commission had brought to Borough Council a concept plan for a linear tree park along there. The biggest hitch in that plan is they haven't followed up with us on how they're going to fund that project. They haven't gotten any preliminary costs to us or where they're going to get money. So that's the biggest delay in that. The second issue is the future redevelopment of that site. If the borough goes in there and puts in this linear park and spends all this money, the site's going to get redeveloped, and that the money that the borough put into doing that linear park, it's going to get altered or disturbed in some fashion. I did have a conversation with the property owner about that plan. And they are on board for trying to incorporate aspects of that plan into the redevelopment and doing more streetscape than what the subdivision and land development ordinance requires. So we will continue to have some discussions with them about that and, looking at that plan. But as of right now, I mean, it's at a standstill because we don't have any numbers from the tree commission.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any further questions in the audience? Okay, let's move to action item A, approve the December 2022 Smart Growth Committee minutes. Any objections?
No
No.
objections.
Okay, we call that 3-0. Item B, approve the January 2023 HARB submission recommendations.
I think this is the most simplistic HARB report we've had of late. The first three, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3, 125, 133, and 137 East Market Street, all from the same applicant, and then they are simply just mortar repair of the existing brick. HARB has suggested approval of this, and that just as long as they follow the recommended mortar process that's in the HARB guidelines for that. And the fourth one was a sign for 40 South High Street. Again, HARB recommended approval of this, just with some simple conditions that the sign components be black rather than white, and that the new paint colors complement the existing colors. Fairly,
Are there any questions about those recommendations?
No questions.
Any questions from the audience? All right, seeing none, I believe we could call this another 3-0 decision. Any other business? All right, seeing no other business, let's move to adjourn.